Okay, so good morning to all and welcome to lecture number 25. Already we have started our fourth chapter, and in that we have seen in last two lectures we have studied about knowledge representation, in what way low level and high level knowledge representation is done in a computer vision for object recognition and so on. Now, in this lecture, we'll be talking about review of statistical object recognition, and at the end, we'll see the difference between structural and statistical approach, or syntactic and statistical approach for pattern recognition or object recognition. So, okay, so as I told you that this chapter already high-level computer vision object recognition we have started, and in that we have finished this knowledge representation. So in this talk, we'll be talking about review of statistical object recognition and Bayes classifier. I'll take it a bit faster because already we people have studied these things in a machine learning part. So I'll take it just review, and already you know that K-NN classifier and hierarchical and clustering approach. So in our next lecture, I'll directly start the syntactic object recognition and then recognition as a graph, right? So you know that each pattern is represented in terms of D feature vector. Like for example, I gave the example in our machine learning course also. Like for example, if you are extracting the feature, like two features you extracted, like as a height and weight. So you got two numbers, like as a height in feet and weight in this one kg, and for that particular person. So these numbers will be represented in a vector form. So this feature vector will be of size 1/2. Okay. If you are increasing the number of features, then size of this feature vector will go on increasing. So each pattern is represented in terms of D features, like number of features extracted from that pattern are D, and is viewed as a, suppose that, okay, you have extracted D number of features, and if D is equal to 10, so the feature vector size will be 1/10, and then feature space will be of 10-dimensional feature space, because each feature vector, okay, each feature will be represented on one axis. Then if it is of two-dimensional feature, like for example, if you extracted two features, so one feature will be represented on one axis, another feature will be represented on another axis. If you are extracting third feature, then it will be represented as a third axis. And if you are extracting 10 number of features, like value of D is equal to 10, then the feature space will be of 10-dimensional feature space. And when you are representing this feature vector in this feature space, then that feature vector will be just viewed as a point in a 10-dimensional feature space or D-dimensional feature space. Okay, and here, once you have represented that one, our goal for object recognition is to partition the feature space into different boundaries, or like for example, by establishing the decision boundaries to separate the patterns belonging to different class. So for every class, there will be different feature space, region, and so on. So you have to basically establish that region by using decision boundaries. So definitely, as I told you in earlier classes, that for two-dimensional feature space, a single line is sufficient to partition that feature space into number of classes. If it is three-dimensional, it will be plane, which will separate this feature space into different number of classes and so on. And if it is n-dimensional feature space or d-dimensional feature space, then you have to use the hyperplane to separate this feature space into number of classes and so on. So there is a need to specify or estimate the probabilities distribution of the patterns and so on in a statistical approach and so on. So if you see the overall statistical approach or object recognition. If you know the class densities, okay, class conditional densities, if it is known, then you can use the Bayes decision theory. Okay, so this is basically density based approach. So if you know the probability of the unknown pattern, so you can okay, you know that, okay, conditional probability is there, total probability is there, and then this, okay, you are going to calculate the posterior probability and so on, right? So simple Bayesian decision theory can be used for decision making and so on. So just for review, we will take that Bayesian decision theory in statistical approach. And if it is okay, if it is not known, so for example, class conditional densities is not known, and so it is unknown. But if all the patterns are okay, if all the patterns are labeled, okay, then you can use the supervised learning approach, and this supervised learning approach can be further divided into a parametric approach and non-parametric approach. So in parametric approach, basically you can use the optimal rule-based technique, or you can use the plug-in rule-based technique and so on. Okay, and whereas in non-parametric, okay, you can estimate the density estimation or decision boundary construction. So these are basically geometric, and these are the density-based approach and so on. So you know that KNN classifier or Bayes classifier or minimum distance classifier and so on. So that can be used in supervised learning approach and so on. Whereas if basically patterns are not labeled or prior information of number of classes is not known, then in that case you can use the unsupervised learning approach. In unsupervised learning approach also you can use the parametric technique and non-parametric technique. So in parametric you can use the mixture resolving technique, or okay, in non-parametric by using cluster analysis technique can be used and so on. So this is the overall basically different approaches which are used for object recognition in computer vision and so on. Now, also you know that there is a very good classifier or recognition system, object recognition system by using neural network. Okay, and just we'll see the one-to-one link between the neural network and statistical method. So perceptron in the neural network is just similar to the linear discriminant function, and then auto-associative network is related with principal component analysis. So PCA is basically used for dimensionality reduction, and which is nothing but the your unsupervised learning approach and so on. Whereas multi-layer perceptron is similar to the nonlinear discrimination function in statistical approach, whereas a radial basis function network, which is there in neural network, is similar, or there is a link between this one with Parson window density based classifier and so on. So there is a one-to-one basically a link between the neural network and the statistical approach and so on. So already you people have studied this subject separately, and you know, okay, more about it. You know the statistical object recognition method, where there are two phases. One is your training phase and another one is the testing phase. Okay, so in training phase, whether it is a supervised learning approach or unsupervised learning approach, okay, you have to use the in supervised learning approach, you know, you have to use the 50 some samples for training purpose and remaining samples for testing purpose. Depends upon how many folds you are going to use. Like for example, if you are using the 10-fold approach for validation and so on, so in that case 9 folds are used for training purpose, whereas 1 fold is used for testing purpose and so on. So if you are using the 2-fold approach, then 50% training samples are used for 50% samples are used for training purpose and 50% are used for this one testing purpose. If you are using 3-fold, then in that case 2 folds will be used for training purpose, 1 fold will be used for testing purpose and so on. So in that way, training samples and testing samples are selected, and after that, pre-processing is done basically for avoiding the misclassification or for removing the data, for removing the noise or cleaning the data and so on. And after pre-processing, then feature extraction and then feature selection is done, and then learning will be model will be trained and so on. So like that way, training phase will be training phase is there. Whereas in testing phase, okay, as I said, that testing samples will be selected based on the enfold approach. So again, the process will be same. You are going to do the same like as a training, like pre-processing will be done for testing samples, for removing the noise and cleaning the data and so on. And after that, same number of features will be extracted. So feature measurement will be done and feature selection will be done. And after that, this is given as an input to the classifier. Also, okay, this standard mean feature vector of all those classes will be one of the input to the classifier, and then this is the query pattern features which will be used, and then this classifier will basically compare this query pattern with all those classes mean feature vector, and then finally it will give the output of correct classification depends upon the matching with with which this testing pattern belongs, and so on. So like that way, the statistical based approach works, and so on, right? So you know that, as I told you, that number of features, if you increase the number of features, there are chances that accuracy may go on increasing, but okay, at the same time, okay, computation complexity will increase, and also feature space dimension will also increase, and so on. And if feature space dimension increases, then complexity of recognition system also increases. So we have to basically use the optimum number of features, and then reduce the number of dimensions and select the best features, and so on. So the performance of classifier depends upon the relationship between the sample size and the number of features and classifier complexity, and the number of training data points be an exponential function of the feature dimension space. So basically, as far as possible, try to reduce the dimension and select only the best or optimum features, and then you'll get the optimum performance. Otherwise, if you are increasing the number of features, definitely the computation complexity will increase, and there will not be much improvement in the accuracy also. So feature selection is also one of the important steps in object recognition, and so on. You know that the class conditional probability, like for example, if you have the feature vector X and having the length D feature vector. So X1 is your first feature, X2 is our second feature, and XD is the dth feature. So the feature vector X is represented like as a vector, and if your classes are like as a W1, W2, or WC, or C1, C2 up to C N, and so on, then the class conditional probability, like for example, the probability of X happening, given that it belongs to class Wi, you have to calculate that class conditional probability by using the Bayes approach. And then if class conditional probability is more to that particular class, then you can assign that unknown pattern to that particular class, and so on. So you know the well-known technique of statistical approach, that is nothing but the this one, Bayes classifier. So in statistical object recognition, basically the problem is that you have given a set of measurements X obtained through the observation, and you have to assign the pattern to one of the C possible classes. Means you have the feature vectors, and then these feature vectors you have extracted from the testing samples, and then these feature based on this feature vector, you have to assign whether this feature vector belongs to class 1 or class 2 or class N, and so on. So a decision rule partition the measurement space into C region. Like for example, if your this one feature space is partitioned by using decision rule into C number of classes, and so on. So if the pattern vector falls in the Wi, then we will assign that unknown pattern to the class Wi. So then it is assumed that the unknown pattern belongs to class Wi, right? And if it falls on the boundary between two regions, then we may reject the pattern or withhold the decision until further information is available, because that will be a confusing. Otherwise, that will create a misclassification, and so on. So you know that a standard Bayesian decision theory Like for example, consider a class C, like a W1 up to WC classes are there, and you know the priori probability, like probability of class 1, probability of class C, and so on. And then to minimize the error probability with no extra information, we'll assign the pattern class Wj. When we can assign the class Wj, okay, unknown pattern, if the probability of Wj is greater than probability of Wk. So where k is ranging from 1 to c, and if k is not equal to z. So this is simple rule, but by using the Bayesian decision theory or Bayes classifier, okay, you know the Bayes classifier rule uses the Bayes theorem, and which says that, okay, probability of unknown pattern D being in a class Cj. Okay, so this is what posterior probability we would like to calculate. So we have to calculate this one. Okay, and what is known for us? So we know the probability of generating D instances given class Cj. So that is conditional probability of unknown pattern belongs to class Cj is known, and also also we know the probability of occurrence of that class Cj, and if you know the total probability, so this total probability is known. Then class probability is known, conditional probability is also known. So all those three probabilities are known, and then you have to calculate the posterior probability. So definitely if the posterior probability of of class Cj is higher than class Ck, then we'll assign the D pattern to class Cj. Otherwise we'll assign to that pattern D to class Ck, and so on. So it can be extended to the multiple classes and so on. So this is very simple approach for object recognition, that is Bayes classifier, where we are going to where we calculate the posterior probability, because we know the conditional probability of that unknown pattern being in a class Cj, and also we know the probability of occurrence of every class. So probability of Cj is known and total probability is known. So these three parameters are known, or these three probabilities are known, and from those we are going to calculate the posterior probability. And if Cj is probability of probability of unknown pattern D being in a class Cj is more as compared to Ck, then that D pattern will be assigned to Cj, otherwise it will be assigned to Ck, and so on. So this is the way this Bayes classifier works in a statistical approach. Okay. Already, as I told you that we have studied this k-nearest neighborhood classifier, KNN classifier, and then minimum distance classifier, and so on. So where we have basically extracted the features, and then by finding the mean feature vector of every class, so that is kept, and then for unknown pattern also we are going to extract the features. Then we'll be finding the distance of feature vector of unknown pattern with each class, and then wherever you find the minimum distance, we assign that object to that class, and so on. So this is based on the minimum distance classifier. KNN is basically the extension of that one. Instead of considering only one nearest neighborhood, you can consider the kth nearest neighborhood, and then we can take the better decision for classification. And particularly KNN classifier is used for finding the similarity in content-based image retrieval, and so on. Now question is that whether I should this one extract one feature, two feature, or 100 feature, or D features, and so on. So more features, is it does it give the guarantee that it will give you the better classification? But if you increase the number of feature, definitely the feature dimension will increase, and if feature dimension is increased, feature space dimension will increase, and if feature space dimension increases, computational complexity will also increase. So more features, whether it is really better for classification? Answer is yes, if the class conditional densities are completely known. So if class conditional densities are completely known, then more features are better for improving the accuracy. But if class conditional complexities conditional densities are not known, then if we need to estimate the class conditional densities, in that case this more number of features are not good, because it will increase the computation complexity, and that will make the system sluggish and so on. So if class condition densities are known, then more number of features will give you the more accuracy. And since already you know the class conditional densities, so you don't have to waste the time for calculating that one, and your system will be faster and more accurate. But if the class conditional densities are not known, then you have to calculate that class conditional densities. In that case, you have to estimate that one, and then after that you have to classify or recognize the object. So the whole process will be more time consuming, and it will be more complex and so on. So number of features depends upon what is the problem and so on. So you have to basically reduce the dimension of the feature space, keep the number of features as small as possible, but not too small due to the measurement cost and classification accuracy. Also, as I said, that if you reduce the number of features, definitely your classification accuracy may reduce. If you increase, it will also increase. But if number of features are increased, the computation cost will also increase and so on. So you have to make the trade-off between the computation cost and classification accuracy. So that is always some trade-off is necessary, depends upon the problem, right? So after feature extraction, basically features are extracted from the sense data or object, then feature selection is done. So feature selection, there are various techniques available for feature selection, and the role of this feature selection is it will select the best set of input feature set which will give the optimum response and so on. And this feature extraction is usually precedes the feature selection, and then after that this feature extraction, feature selection also, as I said, that it will be application dependent and so on. So you have to go through the literature, and then you have to study all those things and so on. Now in a object recognition, in a computer vision, there are two approaches for object recognition. One is statistical object recognition or statistical pattern recognition, and another one is structural pattern recognition or syntactic pattern recognition. So in statistical pattern recognition, as I said that, see, in case of statistical pattern recognition, what we do, we extract the features. Now, these features are in the form of numbers. Like, for example, if you extracted what is the height of that person, so you'll get the number. What is the weight of that person? You got the another number. What is the voice pattern? You got, suppose, for example, some voice number and so on. So like that way, you have got basically numbers in a statistical recognition and so on. And then after that, you are going to use the statistical classifier, which are based either on the probability or simple minimum distance classifier, K-NN classifier, and so on, right? So it may be parametric or non-parametric classifiers and so on. So here, the basic element is basically your feature, which is in the number form. And then after that, from feature, you are forming the feature vector. And from feature vector, these feature vectors are used for training purpose as well as classification purpose. And generally, statistical classifiers are used for classification in the statistical approach. Whereas in structural pattern recognition, we are not using, we are not extracting the numerical features, but here that object is represented in structural forms. So it may be, you are going to use some symbols for representing that object. So these symbols are not in the number forms. So it may be in some kind of shape forms, or it may be in alphabets and something like that. So the data is converted into a discrete structure such as a grammar or a graph-based techniques are used. And the techniques are related to the computer science subjects, like for example, such as parsing and graph matching techniques are used in that case. So here, first thing is that object, instead of extracting the numerical feature, you are extracting the this one, a simple structural shape or something like that. So And then after that, okay, language of that object is, or okay, with the help of grammar and language is formed, or sometimes it may be represented in the graphical form, and so on. So structural techniques are used, and such as parsing and graph matching techniques are used in structural approach, whereas in statistical approach you are using only the numerical features and feature vectors. So we'll see one-to-one difference between the statistical approach and then structural or syntactic. So it is sometimes it is called as the structural, sometimes it is called as the syntactic approach. So we'll see one-to-one difference between the structural and statistical approach. So statistical object recognition is a quantitative method because you are using the numerical values for describing the object, and then from that you are forming the feature vector, right? Whereas in a case of syntactic pattern recognition or object recognition, you are not using the numerical features, you are using the primitives or some shape or something like that. So qualitative description of an object is a characteristic of syntactic pattern recognition, right? Whereas here quantitative. So this is the first difference between the statistical pattern recognition and the syntactic pattern recognition. Means here you are using numbers, here you are using primitives or symbols for representing as a feature. Okay. Should be used when strong statistical features are possible. See, when we should use the statistical approach and when we should use the syntactic approach. So when there is a strong statistical features are possible, in that case you can use the statistical approach, whereas syntactic approach, if there is no strong statistical features are possible, then you should go for this one, syntactic approach. So syntactic approach should be used whenever feature description is not able to represent the complexity of the object with the help of simple statistical approach, or when objects are represented as a hierarchical structure consisting of simple parts, or it is represented in graphs and so on. So graphical representation of object is done. In that case, you have to go for syntactic. So in short, I'll say that if problem is simple, you should use the statistical approach. But if a complex problem is there or complex object recognition is there, and if it is not possible to represent that one with statistical features, then you have to go for syntactic approach, and then that object can be represented as a graph or other techniques which are available in syntactic approach. So this is the second difference between the statistical pattern recognition or object recognition and syntactic object recognition. Okay. Then just one. Okay. The elementary properties of statistically described objects are called as the feature in case of statistical, right? Okay, elementary properties of the statistically described objects are called as the feature, whereas in case of syntactic pattern recognition or structural pattern recognition, the elementary properties of syntactically described objects are called as primitive. So this is primitive and this is called as the feature. In case of statistical approach, it is called as the feature, whereas in syntactic or structural approach, the elementary properties are described with the help of primitives. So for example, border primitives representing the part of border with specific shape, like for example, and so on. So there is no requirement of obtaining the relational structure between the pictures. See, like for example, you have extracted the 3 pictures, so you don't have to establish any relation between the first picture and second picture, or second picture and third picture, or third picture and first picture, and so on. So there is no such requirement of obtaining the relational structure between the features. But in a case of syntactic pattern recognition or structural pattern recognition, after each primitive has been assigned a symbol, relations between the primitives in the objects are described. So like for example, here you have used 3 features, and if you have used here 3 primitives, so in statistical approach you don't have to assign any or basically establish any relation between these three features. But here, if you use three primitives for describing the object, then you have to basically use the relations or you have to define the relation between these primitives and so on. So after each primitive has been assigned a symbol, relations between the primitives in the objects are described and the relational structure results after that, right? Then, as I said, that feature is basically this one, elementary properties in case of statistical approach, whereas primitive is the elementary approach. Okay, elementary property is syntactic approach. So after, see, with the help of feature, what we do, we form the feature vector. So feature organization is done by feature vector, whereas feature organization is done through primitives and observed relations. Like, for example, you can extract the feature vector of this class by arranging the primitives and their relations, right? Whereas simply in case of statistical approach, you are having a simple feature vector which is numerical and so on. Whereas this method, statistical approach, is an algorithm approach. Like, for example, if you are using a wavelet-based approach for object recognition or object classification or texture classification. So what will be the algorithm for that one? Like, for example, okay, take the input image, decompose that input image with the help of standard wavelet for 3 level. You get the 12 subbands. From each subband, extract the feature. That is your third step. And once you extract the feature, arrange those features in a feature vector. So that will represent the object. So this is basically algorithmic process. Okay, so statistical pattern recognition, extracting feature is an algorithmic process. Okay, whereas design of description of primitives and their relation is not algorithmic. Okay, here the knowledge of that domain is very, very essential for developing the relation between the primitives and so on, whereas here that is not needed actually. Okay, no, not much needed. So expert is not needed in case of statistical object recognition, but here in syntactic, to get the better classification or better result, expertise in the analysis of problem or designer experience is very highly essential for the success of syntactic or structural pattern recognition or object recognition and so on. So this is all about review of statistical approach. So in our next lecture, tomorrow's lecture, we'll be studying the syntactic pattern recognition or object recognition, which is used in a computer vision. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much.